Shea Adam with the points. Brilliant, absolutely lovely location for a motor race. The Mazda MX-5 Cup cars, part of the IndyCar program this year, mostly on the IMSA docket, of course, although there is a run out with NASCAR at Road America later in the year. St. Petersburg, Florida, wonderful place to come at any time of the year, and if you can combine it with motor racing, I say that's two big ticks in your boxes. Just under 2 miles, 1.8 miles, 14 corners down the runway straight to turn 1. Difficult to get your braking point there because there's all kinds of paint on the end of the runway. Through the twisties to turn 4, running down First Street before you turn right into 2nd Avenue, and then onto Beach Street and Central Avenue before you're onto the shoreline, Bayshore Drive, down towards turn 10. Another opportunity in these Mazdas to make a brave overtaking manoeuvre down the inside. 11 and 12, fast chicane. Set the car up for 13 and 14, the hairpin that brings you back onto that runway. That's a lap of St. Petersburg for these Mazda MX-5s. John Hindhaugh and Shea Adam with you, 45 minutes on the clock. These are proper race cars, come in as street cars from Japan, straight into Florida actually, and then taken to Daytona, to where the Fliss brothers work their magic, strip them down to pretty much the bare shell. Out comes all of the extraneous bits and pieces that they don't need for a race car. In goes more than 250 full race parts, including a Multimatic DSV suspension kit, a SADEV sequential gearbox, all of the FIA roll cage and safety systems as well, of course. Fire suppression system as well. We had to test that out at Daytona in the first 2 rounds, and it worked perfectly well. They're strong, they're safe, they're fast, and they're very cost effective. Hello to all of you trackside at St. Pete's. Good to have your company listening into IMSA Radio and IMSA TV as we're ready to go for round 4 of the 2022 championship. Shea Adam with me, John Hindhaugh in the booth. We had a cracking race yesterday, and Shea Adam, it was a tour de force for JTR Racing, and Jared Thomas in the number 96 led the most laps, led when it counted as well at the end of the race.
Yeah, took the lead away from our pole sitter, Glenn Mcgee, on lap 2 and never looked back. Now, for Jared Thomas, there was a bit of respite during the race. We did have the safety car utilized, so he didn't lead possibly as many laps total as he could have. There is a slight bit of fun where we do count up how many laps are led over the course of the season. So I'm sure that Jared Thomas had wished that that yellow was a little bit shorter, so he could have led at least a couple more laps around St. Pete. But as you very rightly say, he continued his winning streak. He won one of the 2 races at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta at the end of last year. He won one of the 2 races to kick things off on the high banks of Daytona International Speedway this year, and already a race winner on the streets of St. Petersburg. 3 very different tracks for the JTR driver, and his dad Dave would be smiling at the end of the race yesterday because they started with 4 cars and they finished with 4 cars, so it was a good team performance.
Tremendous work as ever by track services, by the marshals and the corner workers. We had 2 interventions by the Mazda MX-5 safety car in the 45 minutes yesterday, but they were short. They did, of course, bring the field back together, and particularly after the second one towards the end in the last third of the race, that really did change the complexion of things, if not at the very front, certainly for the minor positions, Shea.
Oh, it did. And we had a lot of incident over the course of the race that affected things too. Tyler Gonzalez starting second today. Yesterday was a DNF. He had an axle failure coming down into turn 2.
Oh, wow.
That was actually fairly central in the race. So he didn't get to participate in the entirety of the contest. Well, he's starting on the outside of row 1 today, looking up to make up for quite a bit of that. Another driver is Conor Zilich. He's somebody to keep an eye on. Yesterday, he made his way all the way up to 6th position, wound up finishing 17th when he had a brake issue on the final lap. So that cost him several positions, as you could imagine it would. Well, Conor's got a busy day coming up because not only is he participating in this race, John, he gets out of his Mazda MX-5 Cup car, drives across the state to Sebring International Raceway, and then is participating in the Trans Am weekend there. Wow. So Conor, very much in his comfort zone and his prime in the Mazdas, will have that other race to worry about later on today.
So just waiting for the command down on the pit lane. Although I have to say the IMSA officials, I see Johnny Knotts down there enjoying a bit of sunshine. The pit lane officials are still working their way down the line of 28 cars. It's we can't be too far away. There was a little bit of clean-up to do. I think Alex Palou was involved in an incident towards the end of the IndyCar session. There'd been a couple of red flags before that in the NTT IndyCar series, so that's why we're just a little bit behind schedule at the moment. It is not pleasant to be sitting there wondering what's happening. You know that this can happen when you're a support race, absolutely. Been there myself, but nobody's telling you what's going on. You're really trying to focus on getting your car round, getting some heat into the BF Goodrich tyres and into the brakes, and then hopefully making a good start. So you've really zoned into that, and what you don't know is when you're going to have to start to perform. It looks like we're getting ready to go. The pit officials doing their best through hand signals, Shea, to let the drivers know what the situation is.
Yep, and we've got less than a minute now until the engines are going to be fired. The time was 10:05 a.m. local. That was given to us as a very late update after that cleanup for Alex Palou. Good morning, by the way, to team owner Stephen McAleer, who's sitting in the Turn 1 grandstand. He's very close to our buddy Rooftop Ray, who's the camera guy up there for Turn 1. But Stephen McAleer, part of McAleer McCumbee Racing, they were at the track until 2:30 in the morning trying to repair some of their cars. They had a very good day as far as Sam Paley was concerned, finishing 6th, and his teammate Justin Piscatell taking the fastest lap of the race and coming home 7th. It actually moved both Paley and Piscatell up the points a little bit, given their finishing positions. Hello, Ray, as we get a view of his camera as well. But it wasn't all good for the team altogether. 2 subframes needed to be replaced on the various cars. And if you're a fan around the track of St. Petersburg and you want to go home with a little bit of Mazda love, well, rumor has it there is a big pile of spare parts out front of the MMR camp.
Probably not usable if they're sitting there. In fact, definitely not usable or reusable, but a nice memento. The Mazda MX-5 safety car is rolling as we are getting very close now to green flag for round 4 of the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Championship 2022. The 4-cylinder engines are being revved and warmed up. The BF Goodrich tyres getting cleaned off with a bit of weaving. There'll be a bit of braking and accelerating to get some heat and some pressure into the BF Goodrich rubber on those specifically made racing wheels, part of the package to turn these cars that started life as a street car being built in Japan into full race machines. Sam Paley just going down to turn 4 as the whole field starts to now get their race faces and their race mindsets into gear. Wherever you are joining us from in the world, it's almost time to go racing. On the NTT IndyCar Series weekend here in St. Petersburg, Florida, 45 minutes on the track. Beautiful conditions, and here's how they'll come to the green flag. Glenn Mcgee, local driver for JTR, will lead them to the green in the 23 car. Tyler Gonzalez for Copeland with that bright orange car, the 51 alongside him. Gresham Wagner, championship contender. Spark Performance, number 5 on the inside of row number 2, with Sam Paley in the dark blue. McCumbee McAleer Racing, number 28 alongside him. Jared Thomas, yesterday's winner for JTR Motorsports in the 96, the silver car with the yellow rollover hoop. He's on the inside of row 3 and has Michael Carter, championship winner a couple of seasons ago for Carter Racing Enterprises. Not a great day for Michael yesterday, lost pace in the second half of the race. That 08 car, he'll be looking to do a lot better today. Celine Roland, the 87 for Hickson Motorsport, in 7th position inside of row 4, and he's got Justin Piscatell on the outside of that row, the number 89 for another McCumbee McAleer Racing car. That's got the bright yellow wheels. Bruno Caniero, who was the best of the rookies yesterday, makes up the top 10 with Aaron Johnson. And we're racing very, very close indeed down to the first corner. Sam Paley pulls out in the blue car, tries to go all the way around the outside. He's got the 7th position in a row. A roll at the start of the race. This could well bring out a red flag, not just a yellow when there's a car upside down. That was a huge incident. It is Hyman from down in the field. Woody in his GTR Motorsport number 82. Everyone else has gone through. Already we've got the IMSA AMR safety team there.
Oh, great work.
Very good work for the guys to get there so quickly. And they're talking to Woody in that upturned Mazda. Full course yellow asked for immediately from race control, as you might imagine. Now, there'll be an assessment going on there from the AMR safety team, one of the best in the business, and they're with us at all of our IMSA rounds. We thank the hard-working ladies and gentlemen there. Also involved there, I think, was the number 37 slipstream car. That's Mike Stabb, one of the rookies. He's dropped right down to the back of the field. There was a couple of cars here that had to basically pull up short to avoid the incident.
Yeah, and one of those cars was Jameson Reilly, I noticed, in the 31 machine. Now, he managed to get the Hard Charger Award yesterday for passing the most cars at the back of the field once again. But I really feel for Woody Hyman because his family was giving him a bit of grief over the course of the weekend, John. It's a new wrap on that car, a new livery for the JTR engineering machine. And his family was saying, just don't scratch it. Well, sorry, guys, it's a little bit more than scratched. But the good news is that the safety cell appears to have done exactly what it needed to. And the car is being flipped back over right now. Woody is still in it, yes.
Yeah, and that's is a good point that you make there, Shay, because although these are open-topped cars, of course, that doesn't mean that there's no protection for the drivers. There's a rollover bar at the back, but there's also a rollover bar at the front and a full safety cage. Now, what the safety workers are doing now, along with the recovery truck, is trying to get that to a position where they can safely extricate Woody from the car. What they won't want to do is put it right back on four wheels, because that could be quite a big bump. So they're doing an assessment on Woody. They'll be talking to him. Woody has unfastened his FIA safety harness, and the side net has been taken off, and he will be able to step away from this. Extraordinary that we're seeing that happen, with great work done by everybody concerned, including, of course, the guys up at Fliss, who have installed all the safety and racing equipment on these Mazda MX-5 racing cars, the Cup cars.
And a big shout out too to Long Road Racing, because they helped develop this safety kit way back when the cars first came over with this second generation of these Cup cars. So Tom Long, who's been a factory Mazda driver for such a long time now, he's one of the guys who has helped create that safety cell, and I'm sure Woody Hyman will be going over and shaking Tom's hand at the end of this one.
Little round of applause from the knowledgeable spectators at turn 1 and 2 grandstands there. Woody able to take his hands device and his helmet off himself. He didn't need to be helped out. Well, let's see if we can try and unravel what happened there. We came down to the green flag. Woody was about mid-pack. It was a pretty good side-by-side start. There was one or two people out the line further back, including Jameson Reilly. That might get him a penalty later. He checks up, and I think it all happens in front of him. Yes, it did. And who else was involved there, Shea? I saw Jameson having to pull right up in the. It's easy to spot the bright yellow number 31, but I still didn't see what started the Woody. He was right down the inside on the inside curb and hit it with his right wheels. Also right in there, the number 65. That was the Hickson Motorsport car that had the problem yesterday at turn 14-15. Bryce Cornet. And he was up on two wheels for a moment. The good news is, although the car's got some scratches and dents, it's it is the driver that we are always concerned about, and Woody Hyman is fine. So that started with him being right up on the inside curb. Bruno Caniero as well, the Salt Lake City, Utah native for Hickson Motorsport. In the 21, he was involved, and that's pushed him down to 25th position as the cars are being routed through the pit lane for the safety workers to be able to do their job well. Really smart piece of race officiating to mean that we didn't have to red flag the race because there was an alternative route past the incident. Now the clock has continued to run. We started with 45 minutes on the clock. We're 5.5 minutes down, and probably another lap or two, Shea, before we can go back racing.
Yeah, and what a testament to our track workers and our safety officials that there was a car on its roof, so to speak, less than 5 minutes ago. That's already been cleared away. The tow truck is beginning the process of leaving. We're going to be back to green within 10 minutes of a car having rolled over, when yesterday it took about 20 minutes to clear a car that had gone into the tires in that same neck of the woods. So a very impressive display that we've seen so far this morning. I'm a little concerned for Carniero's car, though, John. That 21 machine, it looked almost as if Cornet got airborne over the back of Carniero. I'm wondering if there might be some sort of suspension damage for either the 65 and or the 21.
I'm being informed that from the accident starting, it was 32 seconds to the IMSA AMR safety crew being at the side of the car and talking to the driver. Not even just a golf clap from us in the booth here. We doff caps and we are not worthy. True professionals, and along with all of our track workers, corner marshals, etc. at this event and around the world, thank you so much for giving something very precious, your time, your experience and your talent, so that we can enjoy motor racing.
Yeah.
So coming through the pit lane one more time, it is Tyler Gonzalez who leads for Coulthard Motorsport. He did get the jump on Glenn Mcgee, who was on pole position before the yellows came out.
Bryce Cornet, John, is showing as being in the pit lane a couple laps down, so I think there was a bit of damage to that number 65 machine. And the guy who finished second in the scholarship running last year is still in the pit lane. I believe that was the sole red Mazda that was sitting there on our shot of the pit lane. So we have lost Cornet, Hyman, and Michael Staub is showing as not starting the race. Right. So perhaps it was David Staub that we had seen earlier on in the blue machine. Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. Let me run down the cars as they are sitting in behind the MX-5 safety car with that number 65 in the pit lane, the red, white and black car, mostly red car. Tyler Gonzalez from Coulthard then in the 51. That's the the orange, white and black, the Coulthard car. It's a very distinctive slash cut livery on that car. Glenn Mcgee is the multicoloured JTR Motorsport number 23 in second. Sam Paley's the dark blue Macumbi car in third position, the number 28. Then another orange and green car, that's Spark Performance and Gresham Wagner. I think we're coming back to green. This is extraordinary work. And yeah, Tanny is waving the green flag with some gusto as they come across the line, and immediately Glenn Mcgee goes to the outside wall, trying to get round the outside into turn one. The right-hander, he's on the left-hand side of the leader. Here comes Jared Thomas in the silver car with the yellow roll hoop. He's trying to make his way back to the front. He was our winner yesterday. He's already up into fourth place. Might even get third here. Thinks better of it in turn three. Heading down First Street towards the right-hander that'll take them onto 2nd Avenue and then onto Beach Street, Central Avenue and then Bayshore Drive. That's how it snakes around in this part of the track. Normally it would be follow my leader around this part of the circuit, but the MX-5 drivers, well, they don't know what that means. They'll go side by side anywhere in the Unofficial Mazda MX-5 Cup. We've got some penalties coming in, John, from the original start. Pulling out of line too early. Bryce Cornet, that one is basically just being said because he's still in the pit lane. Aiden Fosnock in car number 15. And then also we've got the 31 machine. That's Jameson Reilly, all being canned for the improper start.
On the wall the black with bright green stripes at turn 10. That was a brush of the wall at the very, very least. Let's see if that slows down that particular car. That is the, I think that was that Varwig in that car, or was that Atanasio? It was Atanasio, yes. The timing screen's just changed. So he's lost a couple of positions there. There's a contact at turn 1, and around goes Glenn Mcgee. And that was Jared Thomas and JTR. That is JTR on JTR there, blue on blue. And he's facing the wrong direction and falls down. Now, has he kept the engine running? That might be a penalty for Thomas. Contacting turn 1 right on the ragged edge of adhesion. Sam Paley trying to go around the outside in the blue Mcgee Maghalia racing car. Gonzalez leads by a full second from Wagner in second, 51 from 5. Then Celine Roland in the lighter coloured 87 Hickson car in third. Then Jared Thomas, and like a swarm of angry hornets behind him, it's Paley, Carter, Nunes, Piscatel, Varwig, Fastnacht for your top 10, and they are all one behind the other as they head to turn 10 again.
Since Stephen and Chad are listening to us, guys, get on the radio with Sam Paley, tell him do not pass Jerry Thomas or take any risks, because it looks like Thomas will be getting a drive-through penalty for that one. Haven't heard anything from race control as of yet, but that is definitely Jared Thomas's fault. Going down into turn 1, dove down the inside, closer to Glenn Mcgee, and Glenn is going to be ruining his luck, thinking, what do I have to do to lead a lap around here?
Peeling off into the pits was Fastnacht, I think there. Yes, it is.
Yep.
In Fastnacht. So that's his out-the-line penalty. This is a drive-through. He's going to come in at the back of the field, but not off the back of the field. Through the leaders go again. Also, yeah, that's Fastnacht coming through in the darker coloured car. So he's going to lose the back of the field. Actually, now they've all gone through. I thought he might have just been able to jump back on to Glenn Mcgee, who is a little bit off the back. Maybe those two can drag themselves back to the pack, and you know, the safety car, of course, they'll be right back in it. So let's just remind you of what's going on. Fastest lap, and this is important. Gresham Wagner, 1:24.9, has the Mazda fast lap. That's 10 points to his championship charge. But it's Tyler Gonzalez who's now just 0.3 of a second ahead. That last lap and that fast lap from Wagner. Oh, on the wall again at turn 10. Now
that was a big hit for Sean Varwig.
And it's cost him a position already as he drops back down through the field. I think that was Atanasio, and also right in there as well is the Thomas Stars and Stripes 44 car. You cannot take those kind of liberties at turn 10. It's a quick corner share, and that wasn't just a kiss, that was a thump. And if he's come away without suspension damage and wheel damage, he's done very well.
Yeah, he has. And Varwig, who was a bit unsighted by Aiden Fastnacht, or not Aiden Fastnacht, sorry, that was Joey Atanasio making the pass down the inside of him there. Opened his hands up a little too much and then found the wall quite hard. There was a big plume of white concrete being kicked up, but then he takes Mickey Thomas and pulls in Thomas's right side mirror as well. So, Mickey, welcome to MX-5 racing. You're not going to be able to see behind you very well.
Side by side, those two cars, as they are into the right-hander at turn 4. Thomas has to give best the orange and bright green car. Sitting in behind, that is the number 69. That's the car of another JTR Motorsport car, Anthony Mcintosh, the man from Milwaukee. There's a few dinged up cars already. We said yesterday we thought they were being a little bit conservative. Big sideways movement at 10 again for the 88 of Varwig, and this time he keeps it off the wall, but he had to pinch that corner on the exit, and that's cost him his position. And he's got a BF Goodrich tyre that's smoking now on that side, the right rear. Not my surprised face here in the booth, because that was the side that took the big hit, the sideways hit on the wall, and that slowed him down. And Mickey Thomas has gone through to 11th. Piscatel's now up to 10th. Atanasio down to 9th, because Conor Zilich has just made up a position in 8th. Then it's Chris Nunes in 7th. Then we've got Carter Racing Enterprises, Michael Carter 08 in 6th. a little bit further ahead. There's a pass for position for the lead, was it? No, that was for third, second and third. Gonzalez still out front, ahead of Wagner and Celine Roland.
No, Glenn Mcgee.
No,
Glenn
Mcgee
aggressive Wagner, and then it's Tyler Gonzalez.
Yes, Gonzalez dropping back. That's back down to third place. So the leader at the completion of the lap, Shea, is now down to third. So it is Wagner who's pulled his way through. Something spooky going on here. I wonder if somebody's lost a timing transponder.
No, Glenn's almost a lap down. That's what
of course
Remember,
it is.
He was taken out by Thomas.
Thank you, Shea. With all the excitement going on behind, I forgot all about that. So the 23 car with the iRacing logo on the bonnet is about to go a lap down, and he pulls out to the right-hand side down the runway straight to allow the leaders to go through. Blue flag waving.
Excellent.
Faster cars coming past. Celine Roland trying to get on board with the leaders. Glenn, you confused me there. Having started on pole position, I expect to see him at the front, of course, but he had to pull up short, didn't he, at turn one after that incident. So 5, Wagner leads, Gonzalez 51 in second, Celine Roland in third, Jared Thomas just a little bit further back, and he's now got to deal with the lapped car of Glenn Mcgee.
That he put a lap down, ironically enough.
Yeah. Yes, good point, spun him around, yeah.
Gresham Wagner is wishing that he had a radio to Tyler Gonzalez to say, hey, don't battle with me. We're bringing Celine Roland back into this. And Celine, who is a native to this part of the world, comes from Orlando, but he frequently flies into St. Pete to go eat at the restaurant and then flies home because he's a private pilot. He needs practice. He is loving this battle in front of him, drawing him straight back in. Fastest lap of the race so far with Celine Roland. Last time around, he's coming.
1:24.6. for Celine. So at the moment he is the recipient of 10 points, and points, well, all good for your championship charge, as in any season-long competition. Bit of bragging rights, maybe some silverware as well, but it's not just that here in Unofficial Mazda MX-5 share, because there's a huge prize fund in real folding type dollars at the end of the season.
Yeah, you get cash in this championship, depending on where you finish, all the way down to 10th place does it pay. But for the champion, it's 250 grand cash. You can do whatever you want with it. Second place is 80. Rookie of the year is 80. There's a scholarship for bringing drivers into this championship every year. It's $100,000. So there's a lot of money that Mazda invests in grassroots motorsports to try and move your way up. But we have destination as this championship is now, because drivers start to get here and then they stay when you can win real prizes. We do have that drive-through. Jared Thomas has been pinned for instant responsibility. So that's going to take the 96 out of the running for today's grid.
That is fourth place car, the silver car with the yellow roll hoop. Sam Paley just gone through on Michael Carter. That was the battle for sixth position. Sam in the blue car, Michael Carter in the red top, white middle and black bottom. So it seems that Carter's issues with pace from yesterday are continuing. That car completely rebuilt after hard contact with the wall at the last couple of races, the last race weekend on the high banks of Daytona. It was after the checkered flag, actually, but pretty much everything, I think, Shea, you said in front of the windscreen pillars had to be replaced on that car.
Yeah, it was Roland who had the contact after the checkered flag. Michael Carter was during the race, and he went up hard into the outside wall. As Dante Tornello's off again, and Aiden Fosnot not having a good race today. They are off in turn 10. But yes, Michael Carter, completely new car from the windshield forward. He and his dad did manage to test things out earlier in the week. They were okay with it. They brought the car to the race, but it doesn't have the pace that we are used to seeing from the 2 years ago champion.
Well, here's Glenn Mcgee and Jameson Reilly and Bruno Caniero's chance. I think this is going to bring out a full course yellow for this incident at turn 10. Tornello was a victim of an incident yesterday, and this time he goes down the inside, overtaking a couple of cars at turn 10, and the 15 car, the black car and grey car getting very stiff contact there with the number 27. So Tornello again, unwitting victim of that car. Aiden Fastnack, remember, had just done that drive-through, Shea, so he was trying to bring himself back, and that was just an error of judgment there from Aiden. 25 minutes still to go. We're still under green flag at the moment, race control, giving those two cars the chance to refire and pull themselves out of the wall if they can. And this could be crucial. Last year we saw races decided with passes just before full course yellows went out through turn one. Top three, Wagner, Gonzalez, Roland, absolutely together. We've already had, now this is really sensible, Jared Thomas has pitted straight away, so if the yellow does come out, he gets the chance to get back onto the end, so he's pitted for his drive-through immediately. So Roland now has Sam Paley trying to hunt him down, further back down the field. Chris Noons and Joey Atanasio. No, that's not Joey Atanasio. It is Conor Zilich, isn't it? And
it is.
The two red cars. Atanasio's the black car with the green behind. And they're scrapping over 7th position. And the Mazda MX-5 safety car is leaving the pit lane, full course yellow with 24 minutes exactly still to run.
Thomas timed that penalty to be served perfectly.
Yeah.
He had set the fastest lap the lap before, came in and served the penalty. The yellows come out. He's going to bunch straight back up on the rest of the field, and we know his car is fast. Right now, the 10 bonus points going his way. We're going to see a slew of cars trying to fight to reclaim that honor, but Gresham Wagner leading is okay if we stay behind the safety car, because it means he gets closer to getting the 10 points for most laps led.
That's a fair point to make there. I reckon Jared came out in 17th position. So he's going to be able to just about see the front of the field, and he's going to have something in the region of maybe 15 or 18 minutes of green flag racing, potentially green flag racing, to carve his way through. And we know what a fired up Jared Thomas can do. Had a great car yesterday, was the class of the field. So behind the Mazda MX-5 safety car, round 4 of the Unofficial Mazda MX-5 Cup on the streets of St. Petersburg this weekend. Here's how they stand with 22.5 minutes to go, so exactly halfway through this second race of the weekend for our drivers and teams. It's Gresham Wagner for Spark Performance that leads in the number 5 from Tyler Gonzalez from Worcester starter. He's in second position in the 51 Cortland car. Then Celine Roland in the 87. And that is the Hickson car. Mcgee represented in the top 4 by Sam Paley. Michael Carter has found a bit more pace than yesterday when he was languishing around the bottom and just outside the top 10, in fact. The 08 red, white and black car is in 5th. Conor Zilich is the top rookie at the moment for Hickson Motorsport, the number 72 car in 6th position. Chris Noons for Formidable Racing is just ahead of Joey Atanasio, his formidable teammate, and I mean formidable racing teammate, but in fairness, Joey was pretty formidable yesterday and finished 1 place ahead of Chris Noons. 7th and 8th for the 32 and 42 formidable racing team. Justin Piscatel inside the top 10 again for Mcgee Racing with those bright yellow wheels on the 89. The top 10 made up by the 3rd of the rookies, that's Mickey Thomas, and that is another formidable racing team car, the number 44. That's how they stand, with a bit of clean-up to do on the streets of St. Pete's. The BF Goodrich tyres getting a little bit of respite from racing. So the drivers down the runway straight towards corner number 1, the left-hander, and already we have turn 10 being cleared up. Really useful here, although this is a street circuit and been coming here very, very many years now, with back to the American Le Mans Series days, and it's unusual for a street track that there are places to be able to drag the cars away very, very quickly. And indeed yesterday in the race, and I'm still not sure how this was accomplished by our brilliant safety crews and corner workers, they did manage to get the Tornello Hickson car out of the way, albeit early in the race when the field was still pretty bunched together. But they did it with, I think, 2 laps of local. They let the cars go by. They ran out with either a jack or just used Marshall's power, corner worker power, and dragged that car behind the wall through sheer brute force and force of mental power, I think, and we didn't actually need an intervention from the Mazda MX-5 safety car. Just getting these cars out of the way.
And it's even more impressive, John, when you consider that the track is only 1.8 miles long. If we were talking about a place like Road America, where we've got 4 miles, then it's a bit different. But 1.8 miles means the cars are coming by every minute and a half.
Yeah, and even with local yellows, that it's 2 minutes under safety car, but under local yellows, as you say, it's probably a little bit. It's a little bit closer to 90 seconds rather than the 124s, 125, maybe a little bit more than that. Good news, by the way, Fastnack and Tornello both out of their cars, and we do have the fire and rescue EMT unit there. That's standard practice. They'll go to the infield care centre. I think one of the cars is going to be dragged a little bit further out of the way. I thought we might have somewhere between 16 and 18 minutes to go.
John, just looking at where people are in the race, how about a shout out for Mickey Thomas, Formidable Racing, another kid from Dawsonville, Georgia. People might know that area locale for Chase Elliott, 2 years ago NASCAR champion. Mickey Thomas is a guy with a lot of off-road racing experience. He's a world champ actually in off-road racing, and he is loving this street course stuff because there are no walls when you're racing off-road, but they certainly are there in St. Pete. He has really taken to it like a duck to water. Good job by the American flag number 44 machine.
And that number 27 Mazda of Woody Hyman also being, and whilst we're under full course yellow, that getting that car back from its resting place at turn 1. 18 minutes still to go. So a little bit more bump and grind today, more hip and shoulder being applied by the drivers. That has seen, let's not forget, Jared Thomas penalised for a tap on his teammate that sent Glenn Mcgee all the way back to the end of the line. The irony being that Justin served his drive-through and sits in 17th, Glenn all the way back in 23rd. White flag on the start-finish line is not for the end of the race. That tells the drivers that there is a slow-moving vehicle ahead of them. And I see what's happening. The safety crews and the recovery are taking a couple of damaged Mazda MX-5 straight back to the other side of the front straight, the runway straight. That is
back
where
to their paddock.
Exactly, that's where the Idemitsu MX-5 Cup paddock is. So they're taking this opportunity rather than just dump it and then have to potentially recover it from somewhere else, particularly as we start a little bit late. It allowed the schedule to be caught up on the subsequent sessions. Smart thinking by everyone concerned, but I think given that those cars and trucks were pretty much off the circuit, so long as we get the recovery vehicles back to their stations, we might be going green at the end of this one.
I think Gresham Wagner should have the most laps led wrapped up at this point, but a couple more laps would definitely do it.
And why is that important to Shea?
And bonus points, and every point counts in the championship. So Gresham Wagner comes into the race 20 points behind Joey Atanasio. Of course, leading will help him jump up the standings. And our points leader coming into this race, Jared Thomas, back in 17th. He's got a couple of positions to make up if he wants to hold on to that championship lead.
Right, get back to the edge of your seats, everybody. 15 and a half minutes to go. That wasn't a bad guess, was it? I was about 30 seconds out to where the green flag has been reshown at the start-finish line, and immediately Celine Roland pulls to the left-hand side. Down the inside though, Tyler Gonzalez. Having a look, the leader's gone wide. Wagner goes wide in turn one. He's lost the lead. He may lose second as well. No, oh, he's off the track there, right across the red and white curves, and he has lost second. Celine Roland goes through into second. Third is going to be Sam Paley. Paley up to third in the blue car. He's defending from Carter down the inside in turn 4. The 08 car's coming through into third. Gonzalez slips from the lead to fourth position, from second to fourth position. Gresham Wagner went from the lead, and Paley's got damage, and so has Carter at turn 6. So this is the time to go. If you've got anything fast left in the draw, take it out and throw it at the track. So let's just summarise what happened. Gresham Wagner was leading, dropped down as far as 4th or 5th. He's back up to 3rd now, and it's Sam Paley who's dropped down to 8th in the bright blue number 28. And straight on for Tyler Gonzalez. That's the leader. Leader has gone straight on at turn 10, and he was half a second ahead of everybody. I don't think he was under pressure there. I may be wrong, but I don't think Roland was that close to him. So Celine Roland, what a restart lap. What an incident and action-packed restart lap. Gresham Wagner back up to second, but Celine Roland, who started at that lap at the green flag in third, comes out on top by 1.1 seconds.
Conor Zilich up to third, Chris Nunes fourth, Joey Atanasio in fifth, and our championship leader is back up to 15th already. I think he got a few more. No pressure for Gonzalez.
It was absolutely, it was either brain fade or brake fade, take your choice, but that is a victory, an opportunity for victory thrown away at turn 10 by Tyler Gonzalez and Copeland Motorsport. He's dropped 11 seconds away from the back of the pack. There's some damaged and dinged up cars out there at the moment. Just looking to see where Jared Thomas is. He's up to 13. Another wing mirror goes flying, door mirror rather goes flying in the mid-pack. Roland by a second now.
That was Sean Barwig again, John, and Conor Zilich is now up to second with a great move in turn 10 on Gresham Wagner. But I'm pretty sure Barwig's car has been in the wall on both sides for sure. Maybe not the front and the back yet, as Chris Nunes goes off-roading around the back side of the track, gives Gresham Wagner an opportunity. No, Gresham's going to lose another position. Joey Atanasio through into fourth.
He's only second in the rookies though, because Conor Zilich in second position in the number 72 is the best of the rookies. Roland leads by a second and a half now. All that fighting behind has allowed the very light coloured white, and another long run into turn number 1. Are we having brake problems here? But that was 5 again. That was the number 5 again of Gresham Wagner in Spark Performance, and somehow he picked his way through the cars that were around him. Went long in turn 1, has dropped another couple of positions. Sam Paley and Michael Carter went through. So Wagner, having been disputing the lead not so very long ago, is down to 7th position. At the front, Roland leads for Hickson from his Hickson rookie teammate. Conor Zilich in second. He's got about 3/10 on Chris Nunes in third. The formidable, he's got his teammate behind him, Atanasio, and there's been more trouble down the back. Was that the number 88 again involved in that one? That was Barwig again, Sean Barwig in JTR's number 88 with the 4-way flashes going now.
And terrible news coming for Joey Atanasio. Drive-through penalty to serve. We think it was for contact with John Joe Duane, but still waiting on confirmation of that, as there was contact further back in the field. That's Alex Pachura getting into the side of Bruno Carniero. Bruno wasting no time with a little bit of international sign language there out the side of his car. So that's 2 race weekends now where he's participated, showing a little bit of color and immaturity, I think it's fair to say. But the leader is still Celine Roland, ahead of Conor Zilich, Chris Nunes, and remember, Atanasio will be peeling out, so that puts Sam Paley up into fourth.
And that's big news for the rookie battle. Atanasio second in the rookie race here. Debris on the circuit between 2 and 3. The yellow and red flags, often thought of as just fluid flags, but it actually means there's something on the track that shouldn't be there. It's a rather more colourful way of describing it from my corner worker friends, but I'll refrain from using that now. Quite clearly, that hand signals there saying we weren't battling for the lead, or you're number one with me. I can't really decide which one that was that we saw earlier. A big slide by the red, white, and blue number 44 of Mcintosh as he went on to Bayshore Drive that time around, and the light blue with yellow roll hoop car has gone through. That's Justin Piscatel with the bright yellow wheels, and he's got Jared Thomas coming through as well. That's another car with the yellow roll hoop. So Thomas now knocking on the door of the top 10. You know, he's in the top 10 at 10 with a bullet, you might say, at the moment. He's coming forward, restarted in 17th position after a drive-through, remember, was battling for the lead. Before that, was in that leading group. 9.5 minutes to go. Right, take a breath. Let's calm ourselves down just a little bit. Celine Roland, cool as a cucumber at the front of the field for Hickson Motorsport. Still has more than a second lead over Conor Zilich in second, who's got Chris Nooms right up his exhaust pipe. Further back down the field, down the inside at turn number 1. Beautiful manoeuvre for the number 13 as the Mcgee Racing's Jensen Altsman goes through. Mazda badge lying forlornly at turn number 5 from earlier contact. A nice little souvenir. Lovely manoeuvre by Jensen Altsman there. That takes him into the top 10. And he spun. So he just gets into the top 10. He spun right at that point, turn 5. Just as you turn left-handed from 2nd Avenue onto Beach Street. But I think he's got the motor running, should be able to continue from there. Roland at the moment. Sorry, Shay, go ahead.
On behalf of Ultimate Parents, I think it's better if you don't mention him again, because it does seem to be curse of the commentator. Speaking of curse of the commentator, sorry, Mickey Thomas, he's come into the pit lane, not sure what for, but let's see if he's able to continue.
Yeah, dropped way down outside the top 20. Don't think that was a race control issue for Mcgee, but I'll very quickly, Shay will have a quick check on that on the screens. But I didn't hear anything. Coming down to 8 minutes, still plenty of laps to go through, still plenty of potential action for us to tell you about. Leading rookie is in 2nd place overall. Cracking battle going on for 4th, 5th, 6th and on down from there. Sam Paley in the metallic blue number 28 with a little bit of a gap between himself and Chris Nooms, who's got a little bit of a gap between him and Conor Zilich. He's got a second of a gap between himself and Celine Roland, the leader. But those 3 cars, all of a sudden, those 3 cars, Paley, Carter and Wagner, have stopped fighting. And the moment that they do that, they start to gain on the cars ahead. Now, these guys have raced against each other all of last year, and they know that if you're going to be in with a shout, you've got to be there in the last 5 minutes. And none of them pulling out the line now. It's noticeable, Shay. None of them are jockeying for position. What they're trying to do is let Sam Paley lead them onto the back of the battle for 1st, 2nd and 3rd.
Because Sam Paley was Rookie of the Year last year as David Staub runs long in turn 10 but manages to continue on. I think that was him, 39. We've also got Gresham Wagner, last year's champion, in 6th. Michael Carter, 2 years ago's champion, in 5th. So all of those cars, 4th, 5th, and 6th, have won championships of some sort or another within this series. They know how to make the cars work well together. All they need to do is to be calm and work their way back up to Conor Zilich and Chris Nooms, and then, hopefully, Celine Roland.
It's fascinating for me talking to the drivers last year in between races when we had them on Midweek Motorsport over on RS1, sister station to IMSA Radio, that they were saying, yeah, you know, what you're trying to do, early part of the race, it's a bit of jockeying for position. You might have 6 or 7 cars at the front of the field. You'll try and work with the guys around, see if you can cut that down to maybe 4 or 5, and then in the last 5 minutes, you want it then to be a race between maybe, if you can, 2 or 3 of you. So you know you've got a podium at that point. Still the fastest lap of the race, 1:24.4 for Jared Thomas, sitting in behind Justin Piscatel. So that's 10 points for him at the moment. 25.0 last time around for the leader, 24.9 for second. So that lead just going up a bit that lap. but it's come down since the last time we mentioned it. It's down to 3/4 of a second now. So Celine Roland pacing himself, or has he overcooked his BF Goodrich tyres? The Pearly Carter Wagner 12-wheel train of MX-5. Not quite on the back of Nunes, but not far away. Just looking down the timing screen sheet, the rookie division has been decimated here. Conor Zilich leads it, second. We're down in 12th position. Is that right? Yes, yeah. It is. It is the number 69, Anthony Mcintosh. That would be his best finish in the rookie championship. Yeah, it would be. And we did have that Aaron Johnson was involved with Jensen Altman when Altman went around. It was reviewed, I'm hearing from race control, inconclusive. So there will be no further action on that contact. Our last running car on track, by the way, is down in 21st position. That is Glenn Mcgee. So still on a comeback drive after, well, starting on the pole position, almost leading a lap. He's now down in 21st, but he's still circulating and still making up positions on the rest of the field. Celine Roland is starting to fall into the clutches of rookie Conor Zilich. The problem for Glenn Mcgee with that safety car came out, it didn't help him because he'd already gone a lap down. So, you know, he's probably mixing it with other cars within that group, but he went a lap down, and there's no lucky dog or anything like that here, so he didn't get a wave by. So at the front of the field, 3 3/4 minutes to go. Celine Roland will be able to see right behind him the red, white and black number 72 of Conor Zilich. Meantime, Sam Pearly decides it's time to press the go button. He's caught and now passed the number 32 of Chris Nunes. We had great scraps between those two last year. This is only the second season for Sam Pearly. He was one of the leading lights in the rookie championship last year. Ran the car in dark grey stroke black, depending on how the light looked. Gone to a very fetching metallic blue, and you know how partial I am to a dark metallic blue car shape. That one really caught my eye when we saw it at Daytona for the first two races of the season. Well, Pearly has been able to get up to third. Carter and Wagner have not been able to go with him. So now, can he improve even more and upgrade that third step on the box to something even better? He's about a second away from Conor Zilich, who now is half a second back from the leader. 2.5 to go. So we should have 2 more laps, as there has been an off. Is that Anthony Mcintosh? It is our other still running rookie contender. That is off in between 12 and 13, it looks like. Can he get moving once again? Well, BF Goodriches are known for their off-roading capabilities. Yes, that's true. That is a lot of grass. I think he's just waiting for the corner worker to give him the nod that he can come round, because there's a blind corner in the chicane there at 12 and 13. 11 and 12 rather, and he's in the gap, the short shoot between the exit at 12 and the turn into the right-hander at 13. A lot of these cars starting to move around as the sun is getting a little higher, the shadows are getting a little shorter, getting a bit warmer on the track. Roland has got company. There is a battle for the lead. Then a gap, then 2 cars battling for third, and here comes Chris Nunes, looks to the inside, the left-hand side towards turn 10, thinks better of it. This is an absolute cracker. It's boiling up for another classic Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup finish. Grandstand finishes. Yeah, we have them in spades here all through last season. White flag is in the air. 1.8 miles from now as the leaders go across the line. Celine Roland and Conor Zilich. First overall, first in the rookies. Now, Conor Zilich, is this his opportunity for his first win? Michael Carter just loses 5th to Justin Piscatel as they went down into turn 1. Jared Thomas has continued his rise from 17th back up to 7th as it stands at the moment. Defensive driving at turn 4 by the blue number 28 of Sam Pearly. Big sideways slide by Nunes. He's almost lost it. Tokyo drift through 5 and still hangs on to the back bumper of the blue car ahead, but that's a real invitation from Justin Piscatel. He saw that sideways moment. He can see a podium finish here. 2 cars ahead of him, but if he can pass them in the last half a lap, there's a podium finish and the battle for the lead through turn 10, right up to the outside wall for Celine Roland as he turns in left-handed. He's got Zilich in behind him. Can't see Zilich's car. He's that close to the back of the leader. Maybe one more opportunity at the final 2 corners. Slips out to the left-hand side. Tries the underneath move. Who gets off the final corner? The better of the 2. It's going to be Roland. Celine Roland comes to the line and takes round 4 of the Unofficial Mazda MX-5 Cup for 2022. Just makes it by 0.061 of a second. It'll be Sam Paley on the 3rd step of the podium. Then Nunes, Piscatel, Carter, Thomas Wagner, Johnson and Dirks for your top 10. What a drive back by Jared Thomas after his drive-through penalty for contact with his teammate. Restarted after that last yellow in 17th, fought his way back to 7th, but full marks and full points to Celine Roland. The number 87 Hickson Motorsport makes it a Hickson 1-2 share.
Yeah, and that's the first podium position for Conor Zilich in this series in his 6th start. So a very good drive from Conor, very well controlled. And for Sam Paley, the first podium for Mcgee Racing, I think at this track. Last year it was Chris Nunes who came away with his first podium at this track. Paley ultimately falling just a little bit short. Well, he made up for it today.
Very, very tight on the line. What is 0.061 of a second down the runway straight? I reckon it's about quarter, maybe a third of a Mazda MX-5. That was all. The start-finish line had been another 100 yards down that runway. We may have had a different result. It matters not to Celine Roland for Hickson Motorsports. 0.061 of a second, that's much more Mazda MX-5 kind of winning margin that we're used to. Sam Paley a couple of seconds further back will take 3rd. Zilich wins the rookies. 2nd in the rookies, Jameson Reilly fighting back. He was in 12th position overall, and Bruno Cagnero, after his trials and tribulations, is 3rd in the rookies ahead of Joey Atanasio, who is 4th. So after all of their travails, Cagnero and Atanasio still pick up good points, but not as good as Conor Zilich. He's arrived, he's on the podium, and he's won the rookie race here as well, and he's marked himself out as a championship contender. All of that said, Hickson will be delighted. Their party will be starting as soon as they start to pack up, I'm sure. And Celine Roland is greeted by his team. A 1-2 for Hickson. And a great nudge for his championship. Good points yesterday, Shea. Better points today.
Very much so, better points today, and they will be very satisfied with that. I believe Jared Thomas will still hold the championship lead leaving this race, but Celine Roland now goes up into 2nd by my count.
Yeah, so fight back from Jared Thomas up to 7th, really important for his championship challenge. So here are the unofficial Mazda results then. Hickson take 1-2 with Roland and Zilich, with Paley for Mcgee Racing in 3rd. Then Formidable Racing's Chris Nunes in 4th. Justin Piscatel for another Mcgee Racing car in 5th position. 6th, Michael Carter. The best of the rookies, Conor Zilich. And delighted to say that Woody Hyman, after a nasty roll at turn 1, got out of the car on his own. Fabulous racing all weekend. Thanks to our corner workers and recovery crews for making sure that we got the maximum amount of racing in. Shea Adam was alongside me, John Hindhaugh. To all of our team, both trackside and up in Charlotte, thanks for being with us for Unofficial Mazda MX-5 2022.